All right, friends, it's T and I'm back to do a quick recap of Jason Blaha's Strength and Fitness. Long ranges of motion and hard sets ensures muscle growth has been stimulated. Muscle growth has been stimulated, but also remember that's a window for breakdown as well. See what I mean? Let's review this video.
Hey everybody,
Remember, protein synthesis needs to exceed that breakdown for muscle to build, but it is also a window for signaling muscle protein breakdown. Yeah, so you have to replace that breakdown in that session. That's right. See what I mean? Yeah. Plus, it is a window for protein synthesis, but it's also for protein breakdown.
Jason Blaha here, and today I want to chat with you guys a little bit about doing exercises that take us through a long range of motion and put muscles into a stretch, in which we do for a lot of reps. This really is almost a shortcut to gains, right?
Oh, this is a shortcut to gains. It doesn't seem to be working for Coach here. He got experience doing any of this stuff, or it's just heavy lifting? How the fuck does he know these things? He's fabricating and making up these things, man, as he go along. And people are just buying the shit that he makes up.
And what I mean by that is it's almost irrespective of your progressive overload, and here's why. Because if you...
He could say anything and his minions on his channel would believe his shit that he writes. This is majority of my training in a nutshell. Being useless... What is this? Useless. It's a lift that I'm a PR driven and considered by field set work. If you're pushing yourself, you're feeling the stretch and burn, and the muscle eventually can't reproduce that effort and you terminate the set. How can you go wrong? Oh, how can you go wrong? Yes, it's a nice set because I'm seeking to cause a burning sensation in my muscles. I love to cause burning sensations and weird things and these feelings because I'm so high on lifting. I need all these weird sensations, even though there's nothing going on there.
are doing these exercises to fatigue.
Yes, that's it. You want to do them to fatigue. You want to feel fatigued. That's going to build a muscle. A fatigue, broski, is going to magically build muscles. Real muscles. Yeah. Maybe fake sarcoplasmic muscles fatiguing it, because now it's got to get more of this glycogen in there because you're eating the stupid artificial diet.
You're doing these exercises to fatigue, you're going to stimulate muscle growth anyways.
Yeah, you're going to stimulate muscle growth. No, you stimulate a window for protein synthesis, but again, that's a window for protein breakdown as well. Get it, man?
And things you see me doing in this video are examples. These are all exercises that put a pretty decent...
Here's what happens. You bypass MND size limit when you're a newbie. When you're a newbie, you come in, you're untrained. You bypass it. This progenitor cell donates some nuclei, but again, it reaches a ceiling limit, and then it can't donate any more nuclei. It actually reaches a ceiling limit at 15, but you're able to get it one more time through a structural thing called structural damage. That's what happens to your body when you first come into a gym, because it has to recalibrate. So, to make you good at whatever it is you're doing there, all right, you never get it again. Why don't you get it again? It's really simple, because there's something called repeated bout effect. There's no more damage. And here's another thing. He's going to talk to you in there. He's going to tell you you're recruiting these muscles and everything. What exactly are you recruiting? If this protects muscle... Look, he always says you're getting damaged in the gym. The protective effect against muscle damage from a single bout of eccentric exercise. Okay. Here's what happens. There's evidence to suggest that the repeated bout effect is associated with a shift towards what? Greater recruitment of slow twitch motor units. Slow twitch. That's where it goes. And yeah, nothing's going on there with the fast twitch muscle fibers anymore. You're wasting your time.
Stretch on the primary movers at the bottom of the lift, right? We're doing fairly long ranges of motion.
Yeah.
Well, what am I doing here? I'm doing Olympic squats, right? Doing high bar Olympic squat. Puts a good stretch on the quads.
In other words, you're still using the fast twitch muscle fibers, but they are not getting structurally damaged. Yeah, they may get hypoxia, And oxidative stress, that type of damage through hypoxia and oxidative, some of these toxins, because you're drinking fucking toxic bean soup, this coffee and shit, and a bunch of other things, sugar and all that's toxic to your muscles. And so, yeah, there may be that type of tissue repair, that type of damage to the tissue. You understand me? But it isn't that type of damage that would cause growth. So you're simply going in and you're breaking proteins down, and then you're just putting them back again, because that progenitor is not donating any more extranuclei to that domain to support further muscle growth of MND size. Has a ceiling limit, bro.
I'm doing pause benching with a flat back, pull-ups, most of the reps from my dead hang at the bottom. Dumbbell rows. You'll see some dumbbell rows to where I stretch at the bottom, and then pull them up as high as I can, bring them up to
yes, I've seen that.
The chest. Done with a pause at the stretch position, so on and so forth. Okay, so what?
No pause, stretch position, anything's gonna get you over MND or repeated butt effects.
All these exercises have in common. Okay, there's a variety of movement.
Wait.
All right, so why does this matter?
Again, if you want to build yourself, you have to build yourself in the natural world, how it's done naturally outside in the natural world, not in the city, in the artificial world, eating artificial diets and doing these artificial bullshit things. Yeah, man.
Because in this case, because we're getting into lengthened positions, and then most of these exercises we're also including a very long range of motion afterwards.
Yes, lengthened positions, long range of motions are going to magically build real muscles. Maybe fake, but not real.
Not all of them, but most of them. All right, a lot of potential for muscle fiber recruitment. So by taking them to fatigue...
He has absolutely no muscle. He just looks like a, I don't know, just a regular dude, bro. He's just busy doing bodybuilding work now.
We're absolutely stimulating muscle growth because, again, they're all exercises.
You are absolutely stimulating muscle growth, but you're also stimulating a window for protein breakdown as well. So you have to put back those proteins. That's what you're really doing. And you're stimulating growth, sarcoplasmic growth, by lifting all the time repetitively. Eating an artificial diet.
That are not necessarily just for, hey, we just want to target one head. No, these are all exercises that hit most of these muscles through a fairly complete range of motion for any of the primary movers. Not necessarily every muscle involved, but at least primary movers. Definitely lats, traps, even biceps, brachialis on that row there. Okay, we're doing a full range of motion. I'm stretching at the bottom, bringing it all the way up to the chest. Right, that's a long range of motion.
Yes, that's a long range of motion. That gets you over MND size to build real muscles. No, that's why you're not building anything. You're failure, bro. You're failure.
By going to fatigue, what are we doing? We're ensuring that we are reaching the highest threshold muscle fibers. Okay? Because after we reach fatigue on any given set, we can't even replicate that performance unless we've had enough time to recover. Why? Because the deepest muscle fibers, they're not recovered enough to go again. Okay?
The deepest muscle fibers are not recovered to go again, to just keep lifting again for no other reason than to break proteins down and then replace them by turnover. Oh, okay.
So if you, let's say you're doing
yes, and lifting, repetitive lifting hell.
10 to 12 rep set, and it's really, really challenging to get 10 to 12. Yeah, the first 4 or 5 reps, you probably are not reaching those muscle fibers. But because we're doing stretching, long ranges of motion,
yes, you're not reaching those deep muscle fibers. What did I tell you? What it goes into? What does this shift into? What do muscles shift into? It tells you right here. Says type. There's some evidence to suggest that the repeated butt effect is associated with a shift towards greater recruitment of what? Slow twitch muscle fibers. So what are these muscle fibers that he's recruiting, these so-called deep muscle fibers? They're not really being challenged. You understand me? They're so resilient. Man, there's more than just like type 1 and type 2. There's hybrid. Boy, they're going type 1 to protect themselves. They're hiding in there. They don't give a shit about you, what you're trying to do. You have to figure out how to bust those type 2 fibers if you want more of them. Yeah.
As we're doing stretching, long ranges of motion, we are fatiguing.
We're fatiguing, long range of motion. All these things don't get you over it. That's not what causes it. You need to figure out what does it. Just this stupid lifting doesn't get you over these things. And making up a bunch of stuff of fatiguing the muscle, long range stretch, long range of motion is gonna get these type 2s to come back. Maybe if I fatigue him, they'll come back. Maybe if I do this row. Fuck it, this imaginary brain, man.
Everything very, very fast.
This is the stupidest coach in the world. I mean, the dumbest coach. Dumbest.
So what does that mean? Well, that means that once we start getting closer to failure, we have absolutely reached the deep muscle fibers. We've absolutely reached those deeper fibers. And we're in a very, very...
Yes, once we reach that, we reach the deeper muscle fibers. You could say anything. They're in type 1, bro. You could say anything you want. But it doesn't mean that.
Good place to fatigue them enough to stimulate growth.
See, you fatigue them to stimulate growth. You fatigue them, and that will stimulate growth. That'll stimulate the satellite cell to donate its nuclei. Good luck with that one, because that's not what stimulates it to donate its nuclei to support further muscle growth of MND size limit. Nope, no lengthening, no stretching, no fatiguing. None of these things cause the progenitor, where it's beyond donating extra nuclei to that domain to support further muscle growth, to support it, to donate more of its nuclei. None of those things that he mentioned.
Okay. And that's
absolutely a zero, bro.
Really good sign that you've reached those. That's a good sign that you are stimulating growth, even in the absence of...
Yeah, you'll stimulate growth, but it'll be not the kind that you want, like I said. It'll be sarcoplasmic hypertrophy growth. It'll be fake.
Of immediate progressive overload. Because if we need...
Immediate progressive overload. Oh, I love that one. He did fucking made that shit up, bro. He fucking made that... He fucking made that up. Look... I'll tell you what these trained people get. Like I've mentioned before. So here's people, 6 weeks high volume resistance training. What he's talking about, this fatiguing and all that. It's all equated here. It says trained young men is largely resistance training in trained young men is largely attributed to what? Sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. Now, if you don't know what sarcoplasmic hypertrophy is, then you need to fucking go and look it up for yourself and find out what the fuck that is. Look it up on Google and you'll figure it out. That's all he's fucking getting.
Of immediate progressive overload.
And that's why I keep making these videos about him, just to show you how delusional people are out there and your fucking crazy dumbass coach here.
Because if we need several minutes, if you can't replicate that set without 3 minutes...
It never says that trained people get sarcoplasmic. It says that untrained people, in the beginning when they came in, they got a donation of the satellite cell and it fused and donated its nuclei to that domain. And then they'd hypertrophied. But after that, on detraining and retraining, it shows that it never comes back. See what I mean? So why in trained men are they getting sarcoplasmic hypertrophy? Why aren't they getting a donation of the satellite cell? Why doesn't it say myofibular? myofibular growth. Why does it say there that is sarcoplasmic? And what is sarcoplasmic? Well, it's a type of artificial muscle growth. It's fluid.
It's a rest. Like let's say you get to that 10 or 12 reps and you need a full 3 minutes before you can repeat that again. That is absolutely a...
Can you imagine doing all the things wrong that you're trying to get, but you're just failing at it repetitively forever like this guy? That's insane.
high quality set. Replicate that set without 3 minutes of rest.
Yes, replicate that set. 3 minutes of set. These are all these things are they're fucking gonna build you a muscle. Yeah, sure.
I know that I reached all the muscle fibers of hypertrophy.
Yes, you reached all the muscle fibers. Hypertrophy. Again, hypertrophy has many meanings. It's not just one thing.
What?
It just means that something is getting bigger. If you put synthol in your arms, you've hypertrophied. You understand me? Is it real?
Okay, let me explain.
Why do you think these crazy bodybuilders started doing site injection? They started site injecting the muscles with steroids, thinking that is going to make the muscle get bigger there too as well, which is just ridiculous. It just will draw more glycogen into that muscle, protruding it. See what I mean? It's the anabolics that give you that cosmetic look. It's the testosterone that draws the glycogen into the muscle, looking like a penis pump. These guys look like they went in a human penis pump. That's all they look like. They walk around like bubbly.
If you...
You're going to say, well, they got big, they got stronger. Nah, man, they got big, they didn't get stronger. They took molecules and that recruits more of these motor units and androgen receptor strength for that force production. That's all they're doing. But you're thinking, well, they got bigger, so then they're lifting this heavy weight. Must be equate to their size. Not really. Sarcoplasmic doesn't make you stronger, bro. It's fake. It's bullshit. Like when a woman lifts a car off her kid, she gets an adrenaline rush too. Yeah, that too, right? Yeah, she's strong too, right?
Get to where you can only do 12 reps with 60 pounds and you're fatiguing and reaching that point, and you eventually build up to 75 pounds with that same weight. But you couldn't...
Just fatiguing and just build it up to 75 pounds for no other reason than to whatever build it up, yeah.
Get 12 reps with that before you were struggling with 60 pounds, and you get up to 70 or 75 pounds using the same form and same range of motion.
Wow, that's really interesting, yes.
Over a period of time. You didn't gain much to be able to get to 65 or 70 for the same rep.
This is a person that has absolutely no life. This is his whole life. If his channel was to go, he'd probably commit suicide.
The progressive overload is evidence that you grew. The fatigue, right? The quality work sets that you did.
The progressive overload? Progressive overload doesn't do anything. It makes you just better at lifting. He's really just getting better at lifting these things, like a factory worker lifting boxes all day.
To where you had to dig in.
Yeah, sure.
Over time, you will get to where you put 5, 10, or 15 more pounds on the bar and are able to perform it. That is the...
Yeah, you'll be able to put more 15 pounds and perform it. You'll be able to perform better than the last time. Yeah, man, that's about it.
Sign that the muscle growth has happened.
No, that's not a sign muscle growth happened. That's just a sign that you recruited more motor units and you got some more androgen receptors for the molecules, somewhere for the molecules to bind, giving you maximum force production. That's it.
Okay. All right, guys. That's really all I have to say.
That's all he has to say is to... Well, that's it, guys. That's all I have to say so I could fool the shit out of you. Next, better than last time. See you in the next one. Ciao, friends. Like, subscribe, support the channel. Helps the algorithm. Comment down below. Ciao.